guys? I know it's been 12 days since the last video. Wanted to give you guys some updates. Here I'm on my balcony at my new apartment with Allie. Look at this young little friend. So I actually got this 2-bedroom apartment specifically because the harem got up to 4, and by the time I actually moved in, I lost everybody. I lost everybody. She's looking white. What's funny, huh?
As you guys can see, this American guy had a lot of success in South America, an unbelievable amount of success in South America. Yet, as soon as he arrives in Asia, he didn't have anywhere near, like not even a fraction of the success that he was capable of getting in South America. Now, when the facts change, I change my mind. I like to deal with real data and real evidence of the reality of the world. Now, this is the same guy going to a different country and having a totally different experience. Now, he was in Colombia, South America. Colombia's rated as one of the easiest places to get laid. He had success that matched the reality or the rhetoric around Colombia. Then he lands in Asia, and as everybody continuously tells everybody all the time, Asia's the easiest place in the world to get laid. Then it didn't live up to the expectations. Now, when you see that, are you going to assume that he was doing something different, or the environment was different? He was in a bad mood when he arrived in Asia. He didn't have the same game. He didn't have the same online strategies. What is it? What do you guys think? Please leave a comment and let me know. My understanding is that he's the same guy. It's only within a couple of months that he managed to get the success in Colombia, and then now he's having a little bit of trouble in Asia. He's in the Philippines, which is arguably one of the easiest places in Asia to do this, and I think he selected that wisely to try and do his build a massive harem challenge. I wouldn't say that there's anything different. I can't see any reason why he wouldn't be getting any less success other than the girls and the country. Now, for you guys in the comments, can you explain to me why, when the reason why I'm bringing this up, and I think this is a good point to be brought up, is one of the guys left a comment on one of my videos talking about the subscriber bot attack. So my channel got attacked with fake bots recently, and one of you guys from Sydney left a comment saying that you bumped into this tall, good-looking guy who was saying that it's easy to pick up Asian girls, and that that's why my coaching wouldn't be worth it. Now, that's a fair assumption, and that's what the market can decide. And I guess that's why that SEAL guy was constantly spamming George Street, all the white girls, and he could only get a maximum of a 5 or a 6. He has to go to Serbia to get laid with a white chick, but he couldn't make it happen in Sydney. But that's different for someone like me. I'm not SEAL. I'm an Aussie. I'm an Aussie from Sydney. So, is there some cognitive dissonance going on here? Is there something wrong with the data here? Can someone in the comments explain to me why this American guy, who is the same American guy that had all the success in Colombia, couldn't manage to make it happen in Asia. Is there any credible reason or any theories that you guys might have that would be able to explain this, other than my assumption, I could be wrong, that Asia might be a little bit more difficult than South America? Now, is there anybody else out there that might be able to leave a comment that has gone to South America and Asia? There are also a few other factors that I'd like to throw in there. He's not a ginormous man. This American guy, it's not like he is a massive, over 6 foot tall guy. I would make the assumption that he's maximum 5'10". So we can't say that he's 6'5" and South American girls love tall guys, but once he arrives in Asia, he's intimidating all of the girls. I don't think we can say that. I don't think that would be an option. I don't think we can say that the Philippines is wealthier than Colombia, and therefore it's a country that he wouldn't be able to flash his American passport around and get the same result that he got in Colombia. I don't think money would be any less of an issue. I think it would be just as much of an issue. It's an overpopulated, very poor Asian country. I don't think that his looks played a part. I would say he's a relatively good-looking guy for a guy in his mid-30s. I would also say that I wouldn't necessarily think that Colombian girls value looks less than girls from the Philippines. I'll say the Filipino girls, you would often see a lot of Filipino girls that are very attractive, dating very old men or very overweight men. There's a lot of sex tourism over in Philippines as well, so I wouldn't argue that they prefer better looking guys either, so I wouldn't say that that's a factor. I wouldn't say the religion's a factor either. I think Colombia's a Catholic country as well. They're both Catholic, so I wouldn't say the religion is an issue. Colombians and Filipinos are very family orientated. I understand. That's what I understand. When we start to break down all of these factors, I come to the conclusion that which goes against what the general consensus in society is that Asia would be a little bit more difficult than South America. Now, this is only one sample size. We only have one sample size. And my belief is that Asian girls are more attractive. I'm more attracted to them. I choose to date them, not out of necessity because I don't have any other options. I'm a natural from the beaches. I've had my blonde beach babe time, and I tend to prefer Asian girls. I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments. We could break this down in a little bit more depth, but the more I think about it, the more I come to the conclusion that the Philippines, if we're just going to say Philippines versus Colombia, the Philippines would be far more difficult than Colombia. Now, that's assuming that this is all above board and there's nothing else going on behind the scenes. But I'm just making the assumption that it is all above board. And if it is all above board, then the only conclusion that we can make out of this is that Philippines is far more difficult to get laid and build a bunch of girlfriends simultaneously than Colombia. What do you guys think in the comments by making that assumption? And also, so to answer that, and I can make several videos on this, but this is just the first thing that springs to mind. There's many other videos that can be made on this topic. When you have, I forgot who it was that left the comment, you'll know who you are. You said that you met up with I think, quote, tall, good-looking older guy. I think you said brown as well. So he could be Indian. I have a feeling I know who that is. And he said that Asian girls are easy. Now, his lived experience, if he is who I think he is, or he is the guy with the background that I think he is, there's a few guys that kind of match that. Some of them are tall, good-looking guys that come from, say, India. Their lived experience is from the subcontinent, where it's a lot easier for them to get laid. And then when they get to Sydney, the hardest demographic for them to crack is a white Australian girl. So in their reality, and it does show, you have to have empathy and a high intelligence to understand that everyone has different experiences. And for a guy, and Australia's flooded with immigrants, there's very, very few Australians left. The immigrants might have a lot of trouble with Australian-born girls. The accent, race, religion, background, everything, all of these factors do negatively affect foreigners in Australia, and so they tend to believe that white Aussie girls are difficult. Now, as an Australian guy, they're not difficult for someone like myself. The same way, as an Indian guy, it would be very, very easy for an Indian guy back in India. Indian girls, from my experience, are very difficult. The girls from the subcontinent are very difficult for a white guy. Now, I don't go around saying that girls from the subcontinent are the most difficult in the world, because I'm aware and have the intelligence to understand that it's different depending on who you are. Now, an Indian guy or a guy from the subcontinent is going to struggle a little bit more with a white girl in Australia, the same way I'm going to struggle in the subcontinent. Now, for him to skew that within his own brain, within his own reality, and make the assumption that Asian girls are easy, so therefore I'm targeting them because I can't get white girls, that also is based on his reality. Now, I'm not saying that that's not true. I might not be able to get any white girls. I just might not be able to do it. But it's clearly not true, because I've already got videos on my channel with a ton of white girls. It's just that I choose not to. But based on this bit of evidence that I'm providing to you guys today, I'd argue that I could probably have a lot of success in South America. A lot of success by the looks of things, considering the success that we saw from this American guy. And I just like to point that out. The other thing that I'd like to point out as well is, I had a student recently, we just did an immersion. We did a full week immersion, hardcore, pounding the pavement. And he does live in an Asian area. Now, he was having trouble meeting girls in his area. We went into the city, we bounced all around the place. Now, I wanted to take him to what was deemed to be a very difficult beachside area with very attractive beach-going Aussie girls all over the place, where no day gamers go. I decided to take him there, and my student was a little bit skeptical. When we first arrived, the first Aussie girl that he saw disappeared somehow, because it's like, I was like, dude, what are you talking about? The hook ratio is this is like home to me. Aussie girls everywhere, the hook ratio will be 100%. You just go, hello, they will stop and talk to you. They're friendly. They're not going to be rude to you. You have to do less approaches to find a single girl. They're going to be friendlier. They're going to hook. You're more likely to get dates, and you're more likely to get a more attractive girl out here. Now, this was a reality buster for my student because he was of the belief that Asian girls are more easy. Which, when you're out there doing as much game as I am, you tend, and obviously if you're not dealing with some sort of cognitive dissonance, which a lot of the day gamers in the communities have, they forget where their success comes from. They tend to get into the community too heavily, and there's this hive mind. It's very much of a hive mind group think type of environment in the pickup community where they all tend to think the same way. A lot of them might be think they're outside of the matrix. A lot of them are anti-vaccine and anti-COVID and the lockdowns, which I am too myself. But they'll also game in the same areas regardless of the success rate and not be able to think for themselves. There's a lot of I don't know. There's something very sick in the hive mind of a lot of the pickup community where they can't look at their results and go, oh, hang on, what I'm thinking is actually wrong based on facts. So, long story short, my student was in a beachside area full of hot girls, literally only a few approaches in, manages to get a very solid number, and he's now a few dates in dating this girl that probably most guys in the community wouldn't have got. And that is because she is the type of girl that a lot of the guys in the community have this limiting belief around, that white girls are difficult. I believe that my student thinks she's really hot. I think she's really hot. He also got a date. When you look at the approach to success ratio based on who he was approaching, and you really break down all the numbers and figure out where the success was actually coming from, everything other than Asian girls was the highest success rate. He ended up approaching far more Asian girls, and very few, if any, came through, whereas only a fraction of the approaches that he did were on Caucasian girls, and that's where the majority of the success came from. Now, if we had just spent the entire time focusing on white girls, which means we would have to leave the city and get way out of the city every single day and far away from where he lives. And this sample size of a week-long immersion, which is a lot of work, he would have a phone full of Caucasian girls, attractive Caucasian girls. Now, it depends on what you're into. Some guys are attracted to Asian girls. Some guys are attracted to something else. But the idea that Asian girls are easier than a Caucasian girl, the facts just keep stacking up, yet this idea that Asian girls are easy tends to just never go away. When the approach to hook ratio on an Asian girl is probably the worst out of every other demographic. You are more likely to have an Asian girl just look at you and go, huh, and then just run away just from you walking over and saying, hi, nice weather. She'll run away like you've done something wrong. This is what the real data says when you get large enough sample size. And I don't think a lot of the guys in the community living in this hive mind mentality where they're all telling each other falsehoods over and over and over again. The facts speak for themselves. And myself, the reason why my students have far better success than any other coach in Australia, that is, the coaches in Australia kind of, I think I'm already one of the best, if not the best. It's because I look at the data. If the data changes, I change my mind. I don't give falsehoods or anecdotal analogies and falsehoods to my students. If things change, I'm happy to change my mind and go where the winning strategy is. And that's how you get good at anything. And so the evidence just keeps stacking up. And I'd say this experience with this American guy that had literally, he had a harem of 11 girls. He went out to dinner with all of those girls. And apparently they were all sleeping together and everything. And then he finds himself in the Philippines, which if you speak to anybody in the community, they're going to say, oh, Filipino girls are easy. Not from this American guy's experience. And this guy is basing his, this is his career, this is his job. He's not a newbie at this. This is someone that's been traveling around the world for a long time picking up girls. And he's struggling. Can't we use that data as some form of evidence to try and balance the scales a little bit? That's fine. If guys don't want to look at reality, but I think it says more about them, and this is probably why a lot of guys in the community don't have the success that they should. Now, if you want to get some coaching with a coach that will actually look at the data and give you the truth based on facts and is happy to try every strategy out there, hit me up. Top link in the description. Go to my website. I've also got a page there on Indirect Day Game. You can check out that page on my website where it's just like a bunch of blog posts on Indirect Day Game. Totally free of charge, of course. Sign up to my newsletter. If you like this video and it made some sense to you, give me a thumbs up. And if you're in Sydney, hit me up and do some coaching with someone that looks at real data and gets the facts of things and changes based on the facts. And I think that's the best way to do things. I really do. Because you can't be just making up anecdotal, oh, I think this works, without fact-checking it and split testing it to get to the bottom of all of these things. When the facts change again and Asian girls become the easiest in the world, I'm happy to change my mind, but this is just more evidence that something's up. And I would suspect that South America is far easier than Asia. I'll see you guys in the next video.